Bro, that was trending more than Katie
gladly
Ledecky
do it.
dominating the 1500 meter.
Bob the cat catcher. We have to shout him out. Let me
Yes.
give Bob a round of applause. That man is wonderful. Bob comes out. He has the Speedo on. He's bringing the Speedo back single-handed. I am Nike. What are we doing? Sign that man. Give him a contract to get some Nike Speedos. I need him to just do it. Nike, we need to get on to this. Bob the cat catcher is just an amazing.
Bob
I've
the
been doing
cat.
this.
Yes, sir. We're back again. My name is Jonathan Sawyer with Cinco Squad. With me are my brothers Grandpa J, Mike A, and Trey Day. I'm a little off my cues right now because the Yankees are on a 5-game winning streak, hitting home runs like they were before. We got NFL starting. We got college football in a month. We got the Olympics going. And, of course, we got the most important sports going on in the next couple weeks. We have the Little League World Series starting. Let's fucking go. I'm hyped. Fellas, how are your Olympic experience? How's your sports experience? How's your week been?
Excellent. Good. Yeah. I mean, it's the most wonderful time of the swimming year, or swimming 4 years. It's Olympic swimming. It's just different. I mean, I've caught like world championships and like FINA tournaments and stuff. Oh yeah, it's different. And shout out to Leon Marchand, who is just destroying everybody in every race he chooses to compete in. It's insane. The dude, he's special. He's just a special talent.
So is that Michael Phelps' coach, like a trader? Trader.
What? Hey,
he went to France.
He didn't go to France. He recruited the best swimmer in the world who happens to be French.
Is he swimming for us?
He recruited the best swimmer in the world who happens to be French. Did I speak French?
No, but Marchand does.
Trader.
It is weird. Jay, you have to admit.
Because the U.S. staff wouldn't put him on the staff.
Really?
They didn't want him on the staff.
What?
Nope.
Yeah, he wasn't on the staff.
How does he not get put on the staff? Oh, so he said, so this is a fuck you. I got you. So this is a fuck you. Like, okay,
well,
I'm going to have a gold medalist now.
It's not really a fuck you because he has 4 people on the team for the U.S. training with him. Yeah. And he has like 2 other people from different nationalities as well.
So how does that work?
Hungary?
Like, how does that work?
Because he was the head coach at Arizona State, so you can recruit whoever you want from anywhere in the world. And they want to.
How does that work on an Olympic scale? If he's coaching in France, he can't coach U.S. too.
No,
right?
but
I'm just asking.
If he's on deck and Reagan Smith has worked with him for the last 4 years,
it makes sense.
Reagan Smith, like, I think Nessie's not going to be so dumb to be like, oh, you can only consult U.S. coaches. Like, look, your coach is right there. Go talk to him. Actually, like, our girl from St. Lucia, her coach at the University of Texas is going to be accredited to coach 3 different countries. Wow. Because all 3 of those athletes can win medals. And none of them are being stupid where they're like, oh, you can only coach for one. They're like, hey, if you can help all of our kids be at their top and try and help them win medals for us, by all means, we don't care what shirt you wear on what day. Just help out. Be a coach to that coach.
So to that point, you can, at the games, if he had one for U.S., one for Russia, let's say, and one for France, he could each day coach different countries. You don't have to coincide with each.
No, it all depends on how the National Olympic Committee, specifically in each country, set that guideline. So some of them might be very stringent and be like, no, you're not working with anybody else. This is our coaching staff. You stick with us. Some of them, if you're not egotistically just idiotic, you realize that why prevent the athlete from communicating with the person they work with every day if that's going to make the USA better in that moment because that's the coach they trust.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And that's something that I didn't know about the Olympics because I have seen that with swimming. I've seen that with track and field a couple times where like a coach will like coach them. But it makes sense, right? Like, I'm just fucking around. I mean, I know he's not a trader, but I know it only makes sense. Like, you've coached this kid for 4 years. You've grown a relationship. He trusts you. And why not, like, help him on the granddaddy of them all, right? So
in his home country. Like, this is the most special Olympics you can ever ask to do it in. Like, the whole stadium was singing the French national anthem. I mean, what more can you ask for as an athlete?
I got a question for you. Like, when it comes to... And maybe this is the competitive juices in me, and I've never been on that stage. But I see a lot of people celebrating, like, very excited to win the bronze. And I know that sounds weird in what I'm saying. But do you feel like it's weird and this could be anybody, that they're like very happy they won. It's like, I don't know, like I have this mentality of like, okay, second loser, right? And it's not to them because they're third best in the world at that event. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Like, would you be upset if you won the bronze, or would you be more elated like the rest of the, I see the Olympic athletes?
Well, so from my perspective, obviously, ultimately, you'd love to win the gold, right? Obviously, you'd want to win the gold, and that's the ultimate goal. But I think I would be excited to win the bronze simply because, like you said, it means you're the third best in that particular event in the world. And you still, even though obviously, people can't, not a lot of people can say they've won a gold medal at the Olympics. Not a lot of people can say they've won a bronze medal at the Olympics. So, and with an event like the Olympics, it's, you don't know if you're going to make it back, because as far as in 4 years there might be a handful of new, slightly younger people that take your spot. So to get that opportunity and to fulfill and to get a medal, to be top 3 in a particular event when you don't know what the future holds as far as your ability to win another medal, I think, yeah, it's still an exciting moment that you can still be very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie,
it's not about you. That's what the thing is. It's not about you. This is about your country. Be able to stand up there for your country and be able to stick your chest out. Imagine, like Jamie talks a lot about St. Lucia and imagine just the pride they have of somebody even being able to appear there. So just imagine the pride, even if you're bronze, be able to stand on that podium and stick your chest out and hold that flag up for your country. It's about that. So this ain't like the traditional sense of a Super Bowl. We're all in the same country fighting for the same thing. This is about not just me, but my country now also is representing this moment where we get to stand on this podium. So that's why
it's more or less like, let me get to the podium instead of what color my medal is.
Right.
The podium is, because put it like this, and I know people can say this. Y'all are bigger college football fan or college basketball fans than me. People be out there bragging about, well, I got 8 Final Fours. Yeah. This is different. Now y'all talking about Final Four in one season. This is something where only 3 people get to stand on this stand every 4 years in the entire world.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest topics this past week that I've been noticing is the earnings. And I was gonna ping Grandpa Jay, and I don't know if any of you guys knew this, but there was like this guy on Instagram who was going through a bunch of like different countries and what their earnings are and everything. First of all, I didn't know that they got paid to do this. I thought it was just you get the limelight, then you kind of get your sponsorships and stuff like that, so you got paid. So for them to even get some money, I thought it was very interesting. But what are your thoughts on them earning, a paycheck in some sports and stuff like that, and the different amount? Do you think the NOC should be, more, I guess, evenly paying it? Because there are some countries that are paying, like Chinese Taipei is paying $737,000 if you get a gold medal. What are your thoughts, Grandpa Jay? What are your thoughts on that? Because were you guys given like a guideline, like, hey, this is what you get if you gold, this is what you get for your bronze?
I mean, you can expect smaller countries to do things like have a parade and make a huge deal out of it because it's a one-off, right? Like where I'm from, the first person to win a medal, they're probably going to have a diplomatic passport for the rest of their life. They're probably going to get, 2-3 acres of land. They're probably going to get like a street named after them where they grew up. They're going to have a parade. They probably may even have a holiday in their name on the day they won the medal. Like, who knows? Like, it's going to be a huge deal. So the smaller countries will just kind of make it up as it goes along and reward that person for, ends on ends. But you have to look at things like, compare Chinese Taipei to the U.S. The U.S. had 115 people, I want to say, that won medals, right, from Tokyo. So your budget is somewhere in the region of, if you look at the amounts from this year, like $2 to $3 million, right, in that network. So as an NOC, a National Olympic Committee, you have to know what your budget is if you're throwing something out there, knowing the potential of how many people can medal. You better have the money if you're telling them, hey, I'll pay you $37,000, $25,000, and $15,000 if you win. It incentivizes it for the athletes that are working jobs to pay their way to their Olympic dream. Because they're like, what? I win a medal? Like, I get everything that I invested over the last 4 years. I can get, at least half of that back. If they invested $75,000, I can put 37 back in my pocket. Right. So it's incentive for them. I mean, look at what Flavor Flav did. Flavor Flav went and sponsored the whole U.S. water polo women's team. because he heard stories of them working 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to support their dream. So that's pretty cool that he went out and did that. But it's really indicative that, what can the NOC afford? And Chinese Taipei knows that they might have one medalist. So for them, it's like, all right, we have $1 million to fuck around with. We might have one person win a medal. So we just have to make sure we have enough to pay that one person, right? But your America's NOC is like, you have to pay hundreds of people and make sure you have the $2-3 million. I think they should get a little more creative and have the governments get involved. And that should be part of your budget. And I might sound stupid, but it's like, why not incentivize the greatest athletes in the world if you want to keep America up there and you're so, America winning the medal stand is so important to you as a country, because a lot of people still see that as a dominance thing, right? We're the best athletes in the world, compared to Russia or compared to Australia. It's like a big deal. So then reward them handsomely. That's why Uncle Shannon and Ocho were having such a big debate and throwing big amounts out there. And you guys saw that. Shannon said he'll throw 50,000 to any American that sets a world record, and 25 out there for anybody on top of what they're getting paid for a goal, because he's like, they should get at least 50 plus.
And I heard that this morning, about Shannon doing that. And I think more athletes, more people of notoriety should do that. I know the NBA, or I should say the USA team, I know that they'll probably, what I've heard in the past is they donate a lot of it because they're already making. This isn't about, and Trey and I were talking about this isn't about money for them. It's about pride and winning that gold and adding to their resume and whatnot. So I know that they give some money to maybe some charities. It'd be nice to see them say, hey, no, let me donate that to some, gymnast or, ping pong player that won for US, or rowing team that won, or track and field or something like that. I always found it weird that I heard that they don't get paid. And that was always weird to me, because I'm like, these people are representing a country, the country on a national, on a world stage, right? And like to Mike's point, they're standing on that stage with their chest puffed out saying, hey, I medaled, like I did this, and I've won multiple ones, right? So I just found that a little bit weird. Now, obviously, guys like Michael Phelps and Noah Lyles and guys have been creative and put themselves into a map where now they never have to work another day in their life. And that's because of, the dominance that Michael Phelps gave. But, Chede, what are your thoughts on the paying and what kind of solutions do you think could come from this, like of other people's notoriety?
I mean, with Shannon, it's a smart play anyways, because not only they're going to get paid. That's great. Also gives them more incentive to say, okay, who's the first interview I'm doing when I get back home? I'm going to Shannon Sharp. So he's the one who looked out for us. So now that's going to be the first Club Shay Shay interview is going to be probably Kay Ledecky. She just set a record. So she's going to be probably on Club Shay Shay the second week of August. So I fully expect her on there. But yeah, why not? For some of them. But honestly, I agree with like the government and stuff like that. I mean, we got a lot of these, government officials, and they send up, they're pumping their chest up. Oh, I love America. All this type of shit like that. Especially if you are the governor of a certain state, and this guy, let's say a guy like Rhode Island, a small state, wins a gold medal. That is not one of the most famous people in your state. Yeah, you should pump them up. The key to the city ain't up. Give them a little bit of extra money. Maybe make sure stuff is accessible.
He's taking care
for them. Yeah, make sure it's taken care of, because y'all gonna gladly put that sign up and say home of Joe Smith gold medalist, and have that as soon as you're like entering the state or the city. So yes, put that put that out there. Real quick though, I have 3 things I need to shout out real quick, just for my quick observation of this Olympics. Okay, so really quick, I need to shout out Chase Budinger. Y'all remember him? Former NBA player. I did not know that guy was converted to a beach volleyball star. Yep. I'm like watching. I'm like, hey, that a dude who went to Arizona who used to shoot threes for the Rockies? I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. Dude who does beach volleyball. So I thought that was kind of dope to watch his like career transition. Other thing, more Snoop Dogg. We can never have enough Snoop Dogg. I just keep getting on YouTube and I just keep seeing Snoop. The other day I'm watching Snoop. Yes, he was swimming with Phelps, and it was like the coolest shit watching him and Phelps swim. Then he was with Tarico, and they were like acting like they were calling the game. He acted like he was calling badminton, and like just seeing more and more Snoop. Like, can't get enough of that.
Can I say one thing on top of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the one thing I love that what Snoop is doing is he's not covering what he could go cover, right? Like he could go cover basketball, he could go cover track and field or something like that he's comfortable with talking about that he maybe did or something like that. He's covering other sports like swimming, gymnastics. Like you saw him out there dancing with the gymnastics team doing this, and I love that about Snoop, that he's actually giving time to people that maybe to sports that aren't getting. I think he was at the ping pong championship, and he was like, "Oh shit!" Like
It was
was
Ann
funny to see.
Edwards because they called him out and they were like, "Hey, we'll beat you 21-0." So he showed up with the girl who said that. He's like, "All right, show me what you got."
Yeah.
I
And that's
see
cool because you see, like, it's more on a grand scale. Like I said, Kobe went to see Phelps, and like I told you guys at Rio, like all the NBA players wanted to come see Phelps because they knew it was his last Olympics. Everyone's a piece of the guy, the man. But to go to sports where it's like nobody knows who the top U.S. table ping pong player is, like you can't pick her on the lineup. So even if she had the medal around her neck, you'd be like, I don't know who it is. It's like, well, she's wearing the medal, right? So you wouldn't even know who it is. So for them to do that, I think that's big of them because it shows that they get the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to promote sport. It's not just about you. Like Trey was saying, it's about your country, and what they're doing for their country is big time. That they're bringing that notoriety and publicity to the sports that get nothing other than the Olympic coverage.
What was your third topic, Trey? Or what was your
third most important thing? The most important takeaway from the swimming pool. Shout out to Kayla Decky. That's great. Shout out to but there was a more important feat that happened there. Bob the cap catcher. We have to shout him out. Let's give Bob a round of applause. That man has been wonderful. Bob comes out. He has the speedo on. He's bringing the speedo back single-handed. I am Nike. What are we doing? Sign that man. Give him a contract to get some Nike speedos. I need him to just do it. Nike, we need to get on this. Bob the cap catcher is just an amazing.
Bob the cap. I never knew there was that in the Olympics.
I didn't know that was a job.
I didn't know that was his job.
I didn't know that job existed.
I'll do it.
Bro, that was trending more than Katie Ledecky dominating the 1500 meter.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy in his how is the guy in a I was like, how is this this dude like streaking the pool and no one's doing anything? He's just walking up and down usually
that's his job.
Bro, I was dying. I was like, what the fuck? There's a guy in a thong running around the pool right now. No one's saying nothing.
Yeah, that is as French as it gets. If you wanted to get more French than that, you could not.
Oh my god, bro! I was dying. I was like, okay, but you didn't realize that Katie Ledecky just pretty much was having a steak dinner when the rest of the people were sitting, and we're talking about this one dude walking around the pool.
No, because someone lost their cap, and Bob was there.
Bob was there when we needed him.
First of all, where does he put the caps? When he picks
Don't ask questions.
Like,
don't ask questions you don't want
to
ask.
Ask questions.
I need to know, where you put those shits.
To, brother.
Let greatness be great. You don't question greatness.
No, it's not on his head. Well, head.
Well, that.
Just waving the cap.
That's his day job.
Oh yeah. Jesus. But the Olympics has been fun. I really like how NBC. What I really like is what YouTube TV has been doing. If you don't have it, I say subscribe to it. They got the quad box going, so you can. And I think this is more important for the quad box than NFL or even college basketball or even just normal sports because you get to. I was watching the other day. I was watching field hockey, ping pong, and that ping pong match. I had to turn that onto the big screen. I was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
These dudes are diving, and I was like, oh my god, this is intense. I think they had water polo on one, so I'm getting to know other sports, and how hard they're working. And I think it's really cool what they're doing for them. So shout out to all the Olympic athletes. I think we got 1 week left, right?
About 10 more.
About 10 more. Week and a half, I guess.
Week and a half.
Take you the next Sunday.
Best of luck. We still haven't seen the greats on the track and field side of things. We still haven't seen, obviously we're still in group play in the basketball. We're going to be going into the quarterfinals and whatnot. So it's going to be turning up, but let's get over to Mike's mind because Mike's got to take it away for us. Mike, what is on your mind today?
But I think, this is my belief, that few people today really know about the greatest Olympic champion ever. 1904, at the 1904 Games, gymnast George Iser claimed 6 medals, including 3 gold and 2 silvers, and of course 1 bronze. In one day, he did that all in one day for gymnastics, completely dominated the Games. The thing is, Iser got all that done. He dominated his competition with a wooden left leg. He had a peg leg. He had a peg leg on his left leg. Because when he was younger, his leg had to be amputated, or at least a majority of it had to be amputated, after it was run over by a train. Yeah, so leg run over by a train as a kid, ends up an Olympic gold medalist with 6 medals in one day, which just makes me wonder, guys, how many pirates would have been good gymnasts? That's the takeaway.
Captain Jack Sparrow, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, well, of course,
Captain
and Blackbeard and things like that. Yeah.
One.
So,
We already had the routine.
Hey, well, something good here. Give me another drink. Back in the score 10.
do a flip.
No, it's crazy.
So, yeah.
I just saw Pirates Caribbean like for the first time, like maybe
Really?
a month ago. Yeah,
What'd you think?
I like the dance.
Oh, you like his little? Yeah, it's a good series. Well, okay, the first like 3 movies are good. After that, it kind of gets a little.
Yeah.
It gets they start recycling things. But
Bringing
yes,
the past in and making some weird storylines. Yeah.
yes, George Iser, the 1904 gold medalist with a wooden leg.
I'm about to get an Isa shirt and put a wooden leg for the eye. I might start
That's
selling.
perfect. That's perfect branding.
Yep.
Must we be so thirsty for stories? The USA basketball men are gonna win gold, but everybody keeps trying to stress the stories. So first they're talking about Jason Tatum didn't play and it's disrespectful. Then Embiid doesn't play in the second game and people start to go crazy. And then I start to hear people saying Steve Kerr's an idiot. Man, get the fuck out of here. Clearly Steve Kerr knows what he's doing. He's been a great coach. So to sit there and put that type of accusation on Steve Kerr is bogus. It's a damn exhibition to an extent. At the same time, they're winning. Isn't the whole purpose is to win? So why do we really care? Okay, if one guy misses a game, doesn't play that many minutes, did the team win? This is basketball. Most time, all 12 guys aren't going to play. This isn't a participation trophy, but all these guys do want to win a gold medal. I'd love to see Tyrese Halliburton. He's not getting any real minutes, just being happy to be there. And sometimes when it comes to these type of events, that's how it is. I remember back in 2012, James Harden, the future MVP, goes out. He only averages 9 minutes per game when he played in the Olympics. AD, 7 minutes per game in the Olympics in 2012. They were happy to be here because that is what this is, the pride, to be able to go off your country, to be able to go win a gold medal. John Stockton, I remember him saying he only played 7 minutes per game on the Dream Team because he was a little bit banged up. But he did not want to miss the opportunity to be around those great players, to be able to represent his country, to be able to win a gold medal. So I need everybody to stop bitching about, oh, my favorite player's not getting enough minutes and all that type of stuff. That is not what this is about. This is about representing your country, win the gold medal, getting better, and being a fucking professional. So please, people, stop bitching. Enjoy the ride. Like I told y'all before, this team probably is better than the Dream Team. This probably is LeBron's last hurrah. It's probably Durant's last hurrah. It's probably Curry's last hurrah. Enjoy this shit.
The Paris Olympics really got off to a bang here in the beginning. A lot of back and forth, but, you know, Paris, I think, did a great job in hosting. There's been I haven't really heard any controversy about anything about the other than the river being polluted. That's kind of like the only thing that I've heard, but everything else has kind of been tip-top shape. Where would you guys ideally like to see the Summer Olympics be here in the future? Grandpa Jay?
Well, my heart that resides right here says I'd love it to be in India because I've been to competitions in India and the food is phenomenal and the people are awesome and they put on these amazing shows like in between the events and they have all sorts of cool things that you could do. They just don't have the sporting culture yet for it, and I wish they would really invest more into that. With 1 billion people, I think within like 20 years, they could probably dominate a lot more sports than just like cricket and field hockey and badminton. So it would be great if India hosted it. That's definitely my first choice. But given I've been to World Championships in Seoul, Korea, and Seoul hosted the games back in '88, I'd love to see it go back there. I know you said one not yet, so India's my choice, but I'd like to see it go back to Seoul. Because I think they do a phenomenal job. But my choice of who hasn't hosted it yet, where I like to see it, probably Delhi in India.
Delhi, India.
New Delhi, not old
New
Delhi.
Delhi.
Well,
we'll go to Delhi.
Well, actually, the past few years, I think I was reading on the NIOC or NOC, and they were saying that they're allowing now smaller countries to now host it. So even if you don't have a lot of skin in the game, in the sense, they're still going to allow countries to host them. I think because they want
you have to have enough skin to bring in 2,000 athletes plus another 500 officials and be able to host 25.
But how is it 2,000 when there's only like 500 athletes on the boats and stuff like that, Or is that not all the athletes?
The Team USA has over 500 athletes.
Yeah, Team USA has 500 at least.
Yeah. They just weren't all. They weren't all on the boat though.
Yeah, I mean, they said there were 549 athletes. Are you saying there has to be over 2,000 athletes you can fit into the country?
No, what you have to do is be able to account for. So most countries won't send all their athletes at once, like the track and field. Athletes are coming in later because their competition has started later, but they might intersect with the other sports. So at any given time, if everybody's in together, you could have about 2,000 athletes in the Olympic Village at one given time. And if you include the officials and the coaches and admin and everybody else who's in there, plus the people and the staff that you have to accommodate for, and it's a lot. The logistics are. That's why like major cities are the only people who are getting an opportunity. Look, Africa hasn't had a chance to host the Olympics yet. They're one of the only continents that hasn't had that shot yet. Why? Because they're having a hard time figuring out what country can run the logistics of it, because South Africa was a freaking mess when they hosted the World Cup, and it left them bankrupt and in a terrible state. And actually crime increased exponentially after the World Cup in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, one country, and I know it will never happen, but one country I would like to see is Ireland. Ireland, because of like the great scenic views. I mean, they have the capacity, they have stadiums to be able to host like different events. I mean, obviously they have the golf courses to host the golf, so that's already there. But they have like Croke Park, which I think is in the center of Dublin, or not the center. It's like on the outskirts, but it's like perfect, and like the scenery around it, I love. And the walk up into the stadium would just be beautiful because it's wide open. And that's just a nice area from what it looks like on obviously Google Maps. I've never been there, but I mean, I would say Dublin, Ireland would probably be the place I would have that. And I mean, they have the opportunity. I mean, there's they obviously have very lively pubs and everything. So you're gonna have like the drinking aspect of it all for fans and whatnot. But for like players and competitors, you're gonna have like the beautiful views of Ireland. That's been the biggest thing that I've always heard about Ireland is like the views are amazing. Everything's great up there in the sense of like scenery and scenic routes and whatnot. So I think Ireland would be a great place to host it. That was my first one. My second one was honestly gonna be like Africa, because I've never that was one country I noticed that never had anything but the World Cup. So, which I thought was surprising. So, I would have to go Ireland for my country. I would like to see. Just see. I feel like they would do it right.
Mike? I'm gonna go with a particular town that I don't know if many people have heard of. I hadn't heard of it prior to this. Svalbard, Norway.
Winter games, huh?
No, summer games.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
because from April 20th every year, April 20th to August 22nd.
The sun doesn't set.
The sun, exactly, Jamie. The sun does not set.
Yeah.
So you can have events going on the whole time.
But people won't sleep. There'll be no time.
Hey, listen. 24/7 Summer Olympic events. Just anytime.
Summer games in Norway.
we are catering to everybody, working every shift. It's been a big complaint that when it's overseas, you have trouble watching it because it's either super early in the morning or it's done by the time you get home from work. No, we got stuff moving all the time. We can add a bunch more events because we've got a bunch more time. Plus, it's Norway. It's beautiful there, and they have to have the space. It's not that like most populous place in the world. So you can accommodate the space. I just think it would be awesome to have the Olympics going on 24/7.
All right. Well, then ultimately we're gonna have to send real mattresses out there, so when they do try to rest, instead of these cardboard pieces of shit that they keep in the village. Now, did they have that, Jamie, when you were there? The cardboard.
Nah, we had like cot beds and nice mattresses, and we got our own everybody got a blanket that you got to take home with you, and that's good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't cardboard infrastructure.
Do you see this?
I talked to some friends there. It's not as bad as you think.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as people make it out to be. So,
all right, Trey, where are you sending the Olympics?
So I mean, I didn't really go country route. I went more of an area. The area I picked to keep it in America would be the DMV, because you would have DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That area always shares a lot. Also, you still have for America, you have the backdrop of the nation's capital. What better place to represent the country than the nation's capital? This is a place that's already used to hosting a lot of big events, used to hosting a lot of people. Security is always a big thing. You clearly have always a lot of security that's rampant in the area. You have plenty of stadiums, whether it's in Baltimore, where you look at Maryland, we have Virginia, a lot of the college stadiums. You have a lot of places that you can even spread out and have the different athletes, where you could pick the Olympic Village at one of the college campuses, kind of like they're doing for the LA Olympics. You have enough place to house the media. So it's enough of a place where I think you can spread out and still enough nice scenes. You have an ocean right there. I mean, like, it's a lot that goes on, different food, different culture. If not, my other backup would have been Toronto, which is a really nice place to visit in the summer. Toronto is a very cultural type place. They host a lot of big events. I always say Toronto's like a cleaner version of New York, but you have a lot of different culture here. Like, there's a lot of different Caribbean culture. You have a lot of different Asian culture. You have a
Africa
lot
and
of, like,
Ethiopian. Yep.
yes, it's a lot of Ethiopian culture. Like, there's a lot of culture. Every time I go to Toronto, like, I go to a club and it is the most diverse club that you'll look around and you're like, oh man, everybody is all coming together for like events, or you go to a restaurant and it's not like it's like a rainbow. It's like everybody's there. It's like all this assortment of different cultures and stuff. So I thought Toronto, if not, would be a dope place. And of course, it's a big enough city.
Now, to add to that, I went to the Pan Am Games as a coach with a couple of athletes in 2015, and they did a phenomenal job at hosting the Pan American Games in 2015. So they would be more than prepared to do that based on the Pan Am's. Almost, I mean, Pan Am's isn't as big, but it's a dry run because they have a lot of the same sporting events. So they know that this is about a couple more Olympics, but they're right there in that range. And the amount of athletes wasn't that. I mean, it was probably about like 60% of how many at the Olympics. So they had a dry run and they did a great job.
It's surprising that Canada hasn't got a Summer Olympics yet. I mean, realistically, that's surprising because I've been to Ottawa. I played hockey up there. I know that them hosting a winter one would be sweet because you could do different things like on the ice, on the river. The river, I skated on the river, and it's like they said it's like 4 feet, deep of ice. Yeah. So like you're skating on it. I've skated on that before. It's just the culture there. I love the scenery in Ottawa and in Toronto and in Edmonton. Like, you have a lot of different space, and a lot of the cities are massive. Like, when they talk about like cities, like all of them are massive there. So they can host a lot of people, especially a lot of hotels, a lot of stadiums, and everything like that. So realistically, I think those are all great opportunities. And as we lock that down, let's throw it over to Grandpa Jay for his locks of the week.
Yes. So in pure Olympic spirit, we're going to stick here with the Olympics. And one of the fun things about the way they end the Olympics is they end it with the medley relays, which really shows the depth of the countries because that is one person swimming each discipline of swimming. So the styles that they are in swimming. So that means one person leads off with the backstroke, and then the breaststroke is second, the butterfly is third, and then fourth is the freestyle. So it really shows the versatility of countries, and it really kind of claims as like, okay, who's the best overall relay country, right? Because the freestyle relays are one thing, but if you are good enough to have somebody fast enough in each one of those different disciplines of swimming, the strokes, then that really makes you like the country that's obviously has the most depth. So American men are the clear-cut favorite right now. You have Ryan Murphy leading off, who is the Captain America, but he came third in the 100 back, and you have Nick Fink, who is going to do your breaststroke, and he tied for second. And you have Caleb Dressel doing your fly, and I mean, who knows what you're going to get from him? And probably they're going to go with Jack Alessi or Giuliani. Now they came 7th and 8th tonight, so they got guys who will be all top 8, if Caleb medals, they'll have 3 medalists, but not so fast. The Italians have the guy who won the gold in the 100 back and the guy who won the gold in the 100 breast. Now I know that freestylers didn't really come through, so is their flyer good enough to hold on to the lead and give that freestyler some confidence? I say there might be an upset in the making here. And they're at plus 1,100 right now. And I like that over the minus 80 for the States to win the relay. So if you want to get a little bit frisky and you go the Italiano way for the 400 medley relay, take it out at plus 1,100. You win $110 on a $10 bet, I say. So that's a nice way to almost end your Olympics if you're down and you're like, I just want to win a little $100. Go ahead and risk $10 on the Italian men to win the 4x1 men's medley relay.
Grandpa Jay's locks of the week is locking it down. Didn't have one last week. Took a little break. He was on a hot streak, letting everyone else win. But let's take it over to Mikey Mike to our game that we started last week called Matchup Time Machine. Mike, take it away.
Let's go take ourselves back into the matchup time machine. Of course, it's me, so we're going baseball. Today's matchup, gentlemen, will pit the 2001 Seattle Mariners versus the 2012 San Francisco Giants.
I thought this was the easier than last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I had an easy choice here.
I mean, it's easily the 2012 San Francisco Giants. That team was stacked. The 01 Seattle Mariners were stacked during their season. I think that was the team that won 110 games, right, Mike?
116.
116, bro. 116.
116. Okay, but they flopped in the playoffs, right? Like, we look back at that and we look at the playoffs. I mean, you're looking at the statistics, right? I'm looking at right here. Look at you had guys hitting 200, 222, 222, who were normally hitting in the 325, 280 range. I mean, you had Brett Boone as your best hitter throughout that playoffs. You had, I mean, obviously Ichiro was getting the most hits, but I mean, Brett Boone up there. I mean, the pitching staff struggled in the playoffs, and one of the best pitching staffs in 01, and they struggled in the playoffs. So, when I look at this San Francisco team, I mean, you had Madison Bumgarner, who was unreal that 2012 playoffs. The amount of innings he pitched and the dominance that he put on was unreal. I mean, that's why he got the contract he got, because he freaking dominated. He went to another level. I mean, you got guys like Tim Lincecum and Barry Zito were backing him up, like not having good starts throughout the year. They had all 5 guys go over 10 plus wins. 15, 10, 14, 16, and 16. I mean, it was just such a dominant roster in the playoffs. That San Francisco team elevated themselves and just basically I wouldn't say run the table, because they went to 7, they went to 5, the max, but then dominated the Tigers. They were just so good. They were hitting the ball well. 1 through 8 were just hitting the ball well. I mean, Hunter Pence, who is normally a contact hitter, was their least average hitter. So I say the Giants would dominate this team just based off that year. I mean, and how they just performed in the playoffs. I mean, baseball is something that I've said this in many, many rants and many, many times going live, is the fact that baseball is not about how you play throughout the regular season. It's about how you play from the last 2 weeks of the season going into the playoffs. And the Mariners going into the last 2 weeks of the playoffs were okay, but when they got into the playoffs and they faced that 0-1 Yankees team, that Yankees team shouldn't have beaten that Mariners team.
Why not?
They should not have beat them as bad as they did.
Weren't they coming off one of the greatest runs in team history, though? Weren't the Yankees the team to still beat? Weren't the Yankees still the team to beat?
Correct, but the Yankees were having a down year comparatively.
Who did the Giants have to beat? The Detroit freaking Tigers. Get out of here, bro.
The Tigers were good at the time, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
The Yankees, and they say, well, the Giants ran over the Detroit Tigers.
The Yankees were on a downward turn at that time.
Obviously not. If they beat a 116 win team in the playoffs.
They didn't. The Mariners didn't look good. It just escaped their first. I think their first series was against
the Indians.
Look right here. The Indians. They just escaped the Indians, and the Indians should have beat the Mariners. The Indians should have played the Yankees in the CS, but
the Indians played the Yankees.
They were. I mean, I think that's one of the series that Trace is like, damn, I don't want to talk about the Indians.
It's the Indians. I remember. That's why I said that.
Because that was the year. Like, yes, of course, the Yankees ran through and they were a great team, but the Mariners were such a great team. That's why I say the Giants came in the last month of the baseball and they were the hottest team in baseball. And then they came into the playoffs and they were just dominant. I don't think you realize how dominant they were. They were playing a really good Tigers team.
I wouldn't say they were that dominant, though. And I'm picking the Giants, but the reason you can't say dominant, what they were was resilient is the correct word, which is why they beat them. Remember, the Reds were up 2-0 in the best of 5 and they came back. Then the Cardinals were up 3-1 and they came back. So they were resilient. their first 2 series, they were literally down and about to lose the series. The resiliency is why they would beat the Mariners, because the Mariners proved is they had zero resiliency because you win 116 games and you flame out in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, yeah, they would have choked, and that's why I would have trusted Tim Lincecum with the chips on the line. I trust when you have Santiago Castillo and Sergio Romo as your two closing options there. So you have 2 ways to go finish this on the bullpen. So I trust that. The other reason they weren't resilient is because remember this fact too. The Mariners lost that series and did not make the playoffs for over 20 years after that. That shit wrecked them so bad that they had the longest active streak of any North American, not just American, North American team without a playoff run. That's how bad that loss of the 2001 Mariners did, because they weren't resilient. And that's as simple as that. And then the other part, John, they bring up is they got Buster Posey. He was one of the best catchers, one of the better hitters of his era. Another factor not brought up, Bruce Bochy. You have one of the greatest managers in the history of baseball. So I expect him to run circles. So it's all said and done. Yeah.
Not to mention that this Giants team, I think, won again in 14. Right?
Yeah, and then they came back
They
one
won
again.
in the even years.
Resilient.
10, 12,
That
10,
Giants
12,
team was
14.
resilient. And then even when you said Lincecum, or not Lincecum, but
Bumgarner is the one that basically
Bumgarner was great that year. That was Lincecum was down that year. That was one of his worst seasons.
And that was where they threw Bumgarner on 2 days rest against the Reds. If you remember,
your worst seasons from one of the best, one of the better people of that era, and that's the guy who's your 4th best that year. Yeah, that hands down.
And if you remember, they threw Bumgarner in that Cardinal series, I think, on 2 days rest because they needed a pitcher to go. And I don't think Barry Zito was ready. They weren't going to throw old-time Barry Zito at the time. They weren't going to throw Lincecum because he was struggling. And they Bumgarner, that was just an incredible.
Well, don't forget they also had Matt Cain too. So
yes, Matt Cain. He's never talked about.
It's not like you're talking about the stiff that's coming out here starting that rotation. So they were stacked.
So maybe it's not as easy as I would put, but the way that the Giants played in the playoffs, and then consistently played in the playoffs after that, it's just, they were just kind of like the team to beat in the early 2010s. Versus the 01 Mariners, you were like, damn, no one's touching them like the Braves last year. No offense, Trey. The Dodgers the year before that. The records don't mean shit unless you do something in the playoffs. Like the 98 Yankees, who were 110 wins or 12 wins or something like
14.
that, something stupid, and ran the table and won the World Series. That's where it matters. The records don't mean shit throughout 1 through 62. Because if you're hot going into the playoffs, you're not going to ultimately play good. Even if you're winning games and you're winning by just winning, you're not playing your good baseball, if that makes sense. If you're just escaping wins, going into the end of the year, you're not playing good baseball, and that's what that 01 Mariners kind of suffered.
Before Mike pulls us all here, all right, let me add my 2 cents to this, and here's what I think. All right, San Francisco is the clear-cut choice here because they were already a team that knew how to get it done. Right, they had won previously 2 years. So your team manager, your captain is now Posey. He's the only guy that got over 100 RBIs in the season. He's your guy. You centered your team around him. He's also the captain, when the defense is in there. So you're talking about a two-way guy that can get it done. And he obviously was the glue and the catalyst to them winning that year. And I wouldn't say so much 2014 because I think that pitching got it done in 2014 more than just, Posey himself. But, having a player like that and having such a special person on the field is a huge deal in order to make these kind of runs, win 3 and 5 years. You guys saw it with, Captain Jeter and all that. So the most important thing, I think, when you look at something like this is to say, okay, just like you guys already made the point, right, is let's compare why the teams did not, one underperform tremendously and one overperform. And it's because you had a manager who already made these guys believe in themselves and a manager who was just as wide-eyed as everybody else. Like, fuck, what do we do now? Spotlight's on us. The spotlight's never been on us. And then we have to play the Yankees and the spotlight's on us and we're the favorites. Holy shit. And they completely collapsed for that moment because they weren't ready for that moment. And so I'll just go ahead and agree with you guys that with their one shining moment that could have changed the franchise trajectory completely. It said it took them down the freaking precipice for 20 years. They didn't live up to that moment. You're talking about a pitching staff that by far to me was better than the Giants pitching staff. Given that Bumgarner had a great year, but you got, the choices you had were just absolutely ridiculous with the Seattle staff. And obviously Moya was leading that staff that year with, I think he had like over 20 wins or something. But you got Freddie Garcia at 18 wins. I thought I was pulling it up here real quick. You had Paul Abbott at 17 wins. And you had Aaron Seeley at 15 wins. And you had multiple guys that had 4 wins, 5 wins, 8 wins and no losses, 6 wins, hardly any losses with the other guys that played a handful of games that came in there as relievers, etc. So this freaking club was stacked on the mount. It's like, how do you lose? Only they lose. The Yankees hit the shit out of them in that series. Pretty sure they got outscored, like 11 to freaking 3 or 11 to 4 or something for the entire series. So talk about a meltdown. I'll never choose a team over another team that won a World Series that completely meltdown. So Giants take this from me. I just feel like if Seattle's their pitching had done what they did during the regular season, nobody would have touched them in that playoffs.
Mike, who are you taking?
Okay, it's the San Francisco Giants, and it's because they're the deeper team. Seattle's issue was they were top-end talented, but did not have the depth to contend with experienced teams. They weren't, like you said, they weren't ready. Now, I will disagree. The Giants had, statistics be damned, the Giants had a better pitching staff. The Mariners' benefit was that their offense was good. Now, they also had just in the last few years recently lost Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez from that lineup. They add Ichiro Suzuki, who becomes one of 2 players to ever win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. But again, top-end talent not supported by depth. They ran into the Indians team that was deeper that should have beat them, so they slipped by Cleveland, and then they run into the experience. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankees fan. It's just like you said, they had just come off a run. It was the worst, probably the worst performing team of the ones they had. But they were still an experienced team that had played mostly together and knew how to win. They knew how to get by in the playoffs and be able to sneak through wins. Seattle didn't at that point, and they just didn't keep their talent. The Giants, they had won. They had a pedigree of winning. They had guys that had played together. They were a deeper team that picked each other up and had different guys that did different things. My curiosity with coming up with this was, well, okay, so you have a really, really good regular season team. If you put them in the Giants' shoes in that season, do they do better? My answer to that question ultimately when I thought about it was no. I don't think they do any better, and I actually think they do worse than the Giants because, again, just not deep enough.
Yeah. No, and that's a great way to put it. I mean, because realistically, I mean, and you had the Yankees who were coming off, of course, a horrible time in history with our country and the city of New York. That type of momentum as well, and it was just a problem for Seattle from the jump. I mean, the Yankees got off to a hot start. Seattle stole one in New York. New York ended it in Seattle. It's like it was ready. It was destined in Cleveland series, in my opinion.
Was that the Subway Series year?
No, that was
that was 2000.
That was the Diamondbacks year. Diamondbacks won in 7 against the Yankees. Were mobile.
That was the Diamondbacks, Johnson and Shelley year.
Was that the blooper hit that won it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Over right. Well, because if Jeter was playing in his normal spot, he would have caught that ball.
He would have caught that ball
because the infield was in. It was hit to Jeter's spot, and Jeter was too far up that he would never got it. So
he wouldn't. Yeah.
Thanks, Jamie.
To be honest, with
salt in the wound.
Mikey, now's the time you want to come in and battle. Let's go. I'm ready for you. Let's go.
I know you had picked the 01 Mariners, but for me, I know that they don't have the record that Mariners team had.
Melee.
For me, the 97 Mariners, even though they don't have the record of the 01 Mariners, was the more dangerous team because that's the team where you have Moyer and Randy Johnson.
Randy.
Right. So you have like those two at the top of the staff. That's still you have A-Rod, Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner. Like you had some bats on that fucking lineup. Like to me, that was actually the more dangerous Mariners.
What's crazy about that 01?
And 95 too. 95 is a lot the same.
I think that 01 Mariners team traded A-Rod at the deadline and Griffey at the deadline. I think it was that year. I thought A-Rod got
traded both of them.
No, A-Rod signed in Texas.
I thought Griffey left for agency, didn't he? To the Reds?
They both did.
Yeah, it's like
I thought they got traded at the deadline.
No, Griffey left
for agency.
Griffey left the year before. He left in 2000 for Cincinnati. A-Rod left in 01
yeah, the Reds. I used to have
Texas.
Well, he left in the same thing. He left in 2000, pretty much. 2001 it was, but it was
Griffey left in
2001 season.
In back-to-back off seasons.
The Yankees traded for A-Rod. That's what happened.
Correct, in 04.
In
They
04.
drafted. After Aaron Boone tore his ACL, they jumped in, had A-Rod agree to play third, and they traded for him.
God damn it.
Alfonso Soriano, one of your favorites.
We're going to San Francisco.
I'm so pissed about that. My guy Alfonso, man, he freaking got traded. I was like, we don't need to let go. Alfonso.
That was my guy too. I loved Alfonso. That was my favorite player.
And
he had the smoothest swing. He had the smoothest swing I've ever seen. Awesome, and it was just like I was so.
And he glided. When he moved, he glided.
Yes, yeah, and he was a great second baseman. I was like,
excellent.
You don't need anything. We don't need A-Rod. Like, let him go to the Red Sox and dwindle away. Like, I was so mad about that.
I thought Mike has something on his mind. Do we get a bonus here?
Yeah. Well, it's a fact. I know John knows it because I've said it like a few times. But the fun fact I always like about that trade is not only is Alfonso Soriano, the Yankees gave Texas a pick of 2 players to be named later to add to the deal. It was either Joaquin Arias, who's the one they picked, or Robinson Cano.
Oh.
So if Texas could have gotten Alfonso Soriano and Robinson Cano in the same deal.
All right, well, that's the matchup time machine. Let us know your thoughts. We will make sure we post this for you guys all over the social medias. And social medias, I sound like a fucking old guy when I say that.
Unfortunately, I believe we are beginning to see the end of the road for the career that is Mike Trout, one of the best players of this generation, if not the best player of this generation. And it's really sad to see. He's been shut down recently from his rehab after dealing with a torn meniscus that he had surgery on in May. And that is added on top of the laundry list of injuries he's had prior to this, including, and most importantly, the chronic back issues that doctors have supposedly told him, similar to David Wright, he will suffer for the rest of his career. Also, put with that, hand issues, that knee issue, issues with his foot over the last few years, and that's even since 2019, let alone anything he had before that. And there is such a thing as death by 1,000 paper cuts, and it seems like it's death by 1,000 injuries to Mike Trout's career. And that's sad to see. I think a lot of writers are going to put him in the Hall of Fame based on the fact of what he was, and his numbers are great. And when he was at the top of his game, he was the best in the league. But I can't help but wonder what we would have seen and where exactly he would rank among the all-time best if he hadn't have dealt with these injuries the way he had. I hope it's not the end for Mike Trout. I hope he can play many years moving forward, but it looks like that might not be the case.
But
all
over the Googles. But as we're talking about championships and whatnot, what is one championship, I guess, trophy, whatever it might be, that you guys would want, like, or would be like a piece of memorabilia that you would be?
Yeah, memorabilia doesn't have to be a trophy.
Although if you want to.
Unless you want
This is going to be on brand for me. I want a mint copy of the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle rookie card.
Sell that bitch.
I'm selling that.
$30 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, I'm
Make
selling
it holla.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so here's the real question. Here's the real question for Mike. If you had it, would you sell it?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm selling them. I'm selling before I touch my hands.
I know, right? Like before, hey FedEx, turn left. You're going down the street. Mike, come on, bro. You can have a Mickey Mantle jersey signed. You can buy all that stuff for that. You could buy. You know how much? That's the most expensive card.
Yeah, I know, because there's only like 7 copies left in existence.
But you could have Mickey Mantle's bat where he broke the record. You could have for cheaper
behind home plate and then buy the rest of the memorabilia of his life.
It's special to me, all right?
What's special? You never had it.
It would be special to me.
Being a season ticket holder for the next World Series, while you can wear your autographed Mickey Mantle jersey that you bought from the proceeds.
Why would I wear the autographed jersey? That just doesn't.
Because you have 3 in your closet. You have 3 hanging up at your house.
I know, but we gotta. What if I'm gonna have
$30 million that you would get for it? Oh my god, that would be like one of those things where we'd have to have an intervention. We sit Mike down, like, bro, like, look, like, we need this podcast to blow up. Like, this is our route. Like, you need to sell this.
I would send Jamie in there to go in there, steal the shit, sell it.
Hey, You think that guy wouldn't have laser security around that? You want me to melt my freaking hand off trying to get you all $30 million for this podcast? Hell no.
He would procrastinate it, so it's no big deal. Just go real quick.
No, I'll go old school. I'll trip wires at all doors entering my room with crossbows.
Mike,
so if you want Jamie to get shot with an arrow,
you could get Mickey Mantle's locker. Okay, his locker.
Okay, let's not over exaggerate here. First of all, Mickey Mantle's locker's gone. Second of all,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
I do not
know that for a fact. Actually, someone could have his actual locker when they were selling.
They do sell benches and seats from stadiums when
they still could have it. You don't know that it's not existing.
Okay, I'm 95% sure that Mickey Mantle's locker, along with everyone's except for Thurman Munson's, is gone.
Well, because you've seen Thurman Munson's, but you don't know that Mickey's is not available.
No, but but Mickey Mantle's locker isn't as special because it was also 100 other guys' lockers. They didn't. The only one they've ever.
He's mad at you.
I don't need your shit, George Costanza. Okay. Sentimental value is priceless. Somebody else go. Instead of giving.
No, let's just.
Instead of giving Mike shit for the rest of the night.
This is about Mike. Let's have an intervention. Trey, what you got?
I would have won Muhammad Ali's boxing glove. Nice. It's particularly the boxing glove from the Threat of Manila and the Rumble in the Jungle. It is so he fought those back-to-back years. So he fought Rumble in the Jungle October 1974. He fought the Threat of Manila in 1975, and then shortly after that, the Smithsonian took possession of it in 1976, along with his robe as well. I'll just take the glove. I'll take the robe if they want to give it to me, but mainly I want the boxing glove itself. I'm pretty sure it hangs in the National African American Museum now in D.C., so I'm pretty sure it's still there. At the time, Ali was quoted as saying, "This will be the most popular attraction in the Smithsonian Museum," is what he said as he was donating it there at the time of. So Muhammad Ali being what he has meant to boxing, what he has meant to world, sports, humanity, to have something of his, in particular that glove, and knowing, being a boxing fan, that was used in those particular big fights would be an amazing thing to have somewhere inside the house.
Grandpa J.
Okay, so I was gonna go with you guys. If you don't know who Peter Moore is, he's the designer of the Air Jordan 1s. But I was gonna go different here. I was gonna go with the collection of the evolution of the prototypes to get to the Air Jordan 1s. So I want to have that series of where it went from first prototype right before it got to the Air Jordan 1s. I would want that collection. But I think that would be so rare that I don't even know if it exists. But I said, you know what? Let me go with something that would probably be such a collector's item that's noticeable. So I would go with Duke Kanama. Excuse me, I would say his name wrong. Duke Kahanamoku, who is known as the father of modern surfing from Hawaii. He was also a swimmer and a gold medalist in the Olympics. He shaped many early surfboards, but in 1910, I'm going to read this off so I don't get it wrong. He customized a 10-foot long, 23-inch wide, 3-inch thick, 70-pound plank board made of redwood with a blunt nose and square tail, and this design served as a prototype for the Waikiki model, which was made of pine wood a few decades later. I mean, that thing would just be this bullet of perfection of this pine and redwood, just hoisted up on the roof of my house, just hanging down by the most intricate of fishing line I could find. And when you look up, you would just see this thing that looks like a red bullet weighing 70 pounds above you. And I'm like, come closer and I'll drop the damn thing on your head. No, I'm kidding. But this thing would just look remarkable. It would just be the centerpiece of any house, of any office. It would stand out like the beacon of just wondrous glory that it was. And you guys don't get it. To have a surfboard that's 70 pounds, I can't imagine if you took that on the water. First of all, how that thing floated. If it did, kudos to you, my brother. But 70-pound surfboard. Holy shit,
bro, imagine if that hit you.
Bro, you could bench out for warm up and be good to go every morning.
Imagine if that hit you in the head like the one that did before. Oh my god.
I won't be here.
Yeah, that shit would fucking.
My jaw would have been on this side of my face.
The jaw is centered. Dude, that shit's incredible. All right, so I'm going to go with, like, I was going through, like, a bunch of different things. Like, what I want a gold medal, what I want, the Stanley Cup, what I want a World Series trophy. And mostly because I thought we were talking about trophies, not memorabilia. So, as the host here, I never read, so that's always good. I probably would take the net that Mike Eruzione scored the game-winning goal on Russia to defeat the Soviet Union.
Yes.
So in the 1980 to send them to the gold medal game against Finland, I would take that net and have every player sign it. Like there's a net out there that's everybody signed it, and I put that in my house. Don't know where the fuck I would put it. Malin would probably look at me cross-eyed, like where the fuck are we gonna put a net? But that would be the sweetest thing because that was a net that if anyone didn't know the goalie,
you gotta make a blanket out of it and just every night.
The net? No, the actual net.
Yeah,
he's thinking with
with post and all.
No, yeah, he wants post and all.
You want the whole thing?
I thought you just wanted the thing, bro. I want that whole fucking thing. Not just I was like, how the fuck are you gonna make a blanket out of posts?
I don't know. You want the post.
It's so heavy.
Talk about 70 pounds. Be like, fuck.
Yeah, you got your net. I got my surfboard.
Right? But that's what I would want because I think that's a cool thing because one of the key points of that Olympic run was obviously an incredible feat by college kids that it will never be repeated ever. But the goaltender, Mike, fact check, what's the goalie's name for US, Soviet Union?
At the time, it was Vladimir Mishkin.
The one that got scored on.
You're thinking of he scored on Mishkin. He replaced Tretiak.
Tretiak at the time never had average in 12 years 1 goal per game on average, less than a goal per game. So they were barely scoring. Anybody in the world was barely scoring on him. So for them to score 3 and put him out of the game and have Mishkin come in was incredible, and it was just an incredible feat. I was thinking like, okay, if I can't do the bulk, I would want every guy's jersey. Every single one.
I mean, yeah.
Because I'm a Jersey head, so.
That's not a piece of memorabilia. That's
now.
I'll take the team. Thank you.
You do have a Mike Eruzione jersey.
See me chasing down fucking Jim Craig. Give me your jersey.
You could probably catch him. They're very old now.
What? Yeah, probably. But,
it wouldn't be hard.
That's my favorite movie of all time. That's my favorite moment in our U.S. history of all time, even though I wasn't there. It was kind of funny. My dad was saying that how he could have went to the game, ended up not going to the game, because at the time you didn't think. They just got beat 12-4 or something like that by the Soviets. Like not only 2 weeks ago, so like you're not thinking they're gonna beat them. They're just gonna they're probably gonna hang with them and then get beat 12-4 again. So.
All right, so hopefully soon to be friend of the show, Brett Hawk, had his rant today, and I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of that. He was pretty pissed off about the fact that current world record holder from China, Pan Zhanli, destroyed the men's field in the 100-meter freestyle today in the finals. And I don't mean just kind of beat them. He destroyed the field by over a body length. Like he said, that doesn't happen in the men's 100 free. So the guy goes 46-4 and sets a new world record. So he's the current world record holder. You're like, well, what's so wrong with that? Well, you guys have kind of been sleeping under a rock. Right before the Olympics, China went under investigation for, surprise, surprise, having certain amounts of a specific drug that is illegal in their system. Hence, they are now being speculated as cheating over the past couple of years. Nothing new to Chinese swimmers, who have obviously been now tested more than any other athlete that there is in the village tenfold. All right, let's get these Chinese swimmers tested 4, 5, 6 times a day. They've been public about it. They've come out and said that this is just a ploy by the Europeans and Americans to try and throw them off their game. They're confident that they are guilt-free, so test away all you want. But this is the worst thing that could have happened to China swimming because it has been deemed a slow pool. We did see a lot of Olympic records tonight, but nothing close to a world record. And this guy comes in and just smashes his own world record and destroys world-class sprinters who normally, I mean, look at the 200 free. The 200 free was within 1/10 of a second with the top 3 places. This does not happen in swimming. So Pan Zhanli went and fucked up China right now because if you thought they were under investigation prior to the start of the games, now the real games begin. This guy ain't leaving the testing room for the entire night. In fact, he might not sleep for the next 24 hours because they're going to test this guy nonstop. You know what? He's going to pass every test. because they're ahead of the test. They are not up to date when it comes to things that can beat them out. That's possibly why they keep not testing positive. Now, I'm not going to speculate and say that they are cheaters, but this is not good for Chinese swimming. And you would love to say, hey, let's celebrate that first world record at these Olympics. Awesome swim. The world record holder beat his own time. I don't think I could do that because, like Bret Hawk said, this shit ain't supposed to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen from here. But I'll tell you what, if the Chinese thought they were being tested before, y'all better buckle up for the rest of the Olympics.
That's the memory I would take. But speaking about jerseys, I'm going to throw it down to Trey Day for a new little game we got called is Who Wore It Best? Trey Day, take it away.
Okay, so this time we're going to do Who Wore It Best, but this particular time we're going to do Olympic men's basketball edition. So we're going to do a couple rounds. Basically, I'm going to pick a number because the thing about the U.S. Olympics, which is unique, is you can't wear any even number. So you don't always get to wear like your normal NBA numbers. So sometimes we have crossovers of different athletes who are in one Olympics wearing a number, the next Olympics they're wearing a number. So we're going to pick which athlete do we think wore it best, that particular number. So we'll do 2 rounds. The first round we're going to use the number 4.
What are you got 6?
No, 6. I made sure not to pick 6 and 9 will not be in this game. Those are 3. 6, 9, and 10. 6, 9, and 10 will not be used. Those are 3 answers.
Are you giving us an option?
No.
You're giving us 3 names, right?
I'm giving you 4 names.
4 names.
All
okay,
4 of these people wore the number 4 in the Olympics at some point. So the number 4, we're going with Steph Curry in 2024. He currently wears number 4. Jimmy Butler wore it in 2016. Iverson wore it in 04. And Barkley wore it in 96. Interesting.
96 was not the dream team.
96 was not the dream team. 92 was the dream team.
92 was the dream
I
team.
believe Barkley wore 13. I believe. No,
he
not
wore
13.
13 on that. Yep.
I think he was a 13 year.
I think he wore 13 that year.
I think he wore 13 in the dream team year. But yeah, that's what we're going. So we got Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Iverson, or Barkley. Let's go with Jay.
You want me? Come on, man.
Yeah, we got our basketball.
You talking about choosing somebody out of that list? We talking about like this is a debate? Come on, man. It's all the way. Allen Iverson for the win all day, every day. That's when I wanted to be Allen Iverson back in 96. I still want to be Allen Iverson in 2006. So, yeah, Allen Iverson for me definitely more better. I don't remember Jimmy Butler's Olympics, so I can't say that it left an impact on me. All right. Charles Barkley was the guy in 92, and he went on to win the MVP and that later in that season. And they said he was actually the best player on the team. A la Jordan's greatness. Charles Barkley was the one that was really just getting all the freaking grimy rebounds. And so from an impact standpoint, I could say I remember that with him. But Allen Iverson's my guy, man. I can't go against him. And Steph hasn't shown me enough this year to say that he wore it best either. So I'm going with Allen Iverson.
Yeah, I don't remember Jimmy Butler very, very often. I remember AI.
Nobody remembers Butler. He was
like, I don't think he played that.
I know. I'm just laughing because he was so recent. I
don't think he played that much. That's my thing, and I don't think he had an significant impact. So I'm gonna say AI just because I remember watching him play and tear it up. I mean, he averaged almost 13 points a game, almost 40% from 3. So I mean, it was AI. He was kind of like the leader of that team. So Steph, I mean, going 1 for 9. Yesterday against South Sudan was not a great performance from him. So I'm going to say AI. Mike?
Because of how he's completely changed the game of basketball, I'll just go Steph Curry because he is my favorite player in the league now. And it's, for me, watching Olympic basketball, it's almost like different because it's so different from his normal number. AI wears 4 in the Olympics. He wears 3 in the NBA. Steph wears 30. So it's weird to see, after seeing him play with the Warriors and wearing 30 for so long, it's weird to see him wear a single digit number. So that kind of stands out to me. And he's going to be known as the best shooter God ever created, Stephen A. Smith. Ever. And he's just changed the entire way basketball is approached at a professional level. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Steph.
Trey?
Mike is correct. The answer is Steph here. And this is coming from, everybody knows Allen Iverson is one of my 3 favorite players of all time. But remember, we're talking about the time of that Olympics, they won bronze. That is the most shameful Olympics. But I remember when I see Iverson at jerseys, this was the Olympics where they had to come back because Kobe and them weren't there. Kobe and them were like, okay, we got to save it. Y'all fucked up because they said everybody was hanging out, kicking it, not taking it seriously. Bron and them weren't because they were young. Bron, Wade, Melo, and all them were super young. Iverson was supposed to be the OG, but he was kicking it too, and they ended up not finishing the job. So if you say who's my favorite player of those is Iverson, when you say who wore it best, I already projected and told y'all that this was going to be the best Olympic basketball team the USA has ever assembled. This is Steph's last swan song. The Warriors ain't winning no fucking championship. So, like I said, one of our last great memories of Steph Curry is going to be wearing this damn number 4 jersey and taking that gold medal in about a week from now. So, it's going to be Steph Curry because I'm projecting out long term.
Quick fact check. Chris Mullin wore number 13 on the Dream Team. Charles Barkley did wear 4 that year as well.
Oh, okay.
He wore 4 that year too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it could be
still,
but
all right, 2 Stephs and 2 AIs. Who's the next number?
Okay, so that I was thinking, because the next one was 13. You are right. Our options, Chris Mullin actually is an option. Didn't realize that on my thing. Chris Mullin wore that jersey in 84 and 92. So he wore it 84 when he was in college. Then he came back and wore 92 for the Dream Team. So the number 13, we have Chris Mullin, Shaq in 96, Tim Duncan in 04, or Chris Paul in 08. 13
You put that 04 team out there again, huh?
Yes, but we put legend Tim Duncan. So we have Shaq. We have.
You can't blame Allen Iverson for not being the OG. Tim Duncan was the captain of that team, bro. You're coming off of 3 NBA championships in 4 years.
They don't follow Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, anybody following him? You said you wanted to be Iverson. I wanted to be Iverson. LeBron and them were basically somewhere between me and your age. We all would fucking follow Iverson. If I was at that Olympics and they were like, and Tim Duncan, they were like, yeah, who you gonna hang with? I mean, yeah, Tim's probably gonna be, hanging to himself. I'm going to hang with Iverson. If Iverson said we're going to the club, we're fucking going to the club. He said we're going to practice. Practice? I guess we're going to practice. I was going to follow with Iverson. I was LeBron, Wade and Melo too. But no, the number 13 though. We have, like I said, Chris Paul in 08, Duncan in 04, Shaq in 96, or Mullins in 92, 84. Mike, who you got?
It's got to be at the Olympics that the great US of A hosted in Atlanta. It's got to be Shaq in 96. It's young, fit Shaq, just running all over, dominating. And plus, it's Shaquille O'Neal, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. He's iconic. And again, for me, it's always stands out when guys wear numbers that they just don't ever wear otherwise. And so the fact that, he was 30, was he 32 or 34 in Orlando?
34. 32 Orlando, but he was going to the Lakers right around then too.
For 34.
34, yeah.
Either way, 13, vastly different number from that. So it is, I think it's an iconic memory of when else are you going to see Shaquille O'Neal wear 13?
All right, well, I'm going to go off the board a little bit. I'm going to say Chris Mullin. I mean, Chris Mullin averaged almost 13 points a game. He shot 53% from He was dominant. He played 21 minutes per game. He was a critical part of that Dream Team, in my opinion, on the shooting. I haven't watched the Dream Team, but every time I saw a 3-ball go up, it was always that 13 jersey you saw shooting it. So he was lights out in that Olympics, and I mean he played in all 8 games. I mean he was just the guy. I mean he assisted. He played well. Usually we'd say Jordan and everything. Yeah, they were great pieces and everything, but he was always the guy left open. It was kind of like Kerr in the Bulls teams. Kerr was always kind of left open. It was just knocking down the threes. Your job was to knock down those threes and knock it down and be a critical point, and that's what Chris Mullin did for that 92 team. I think people forget how good Chris Mullin actually is was at basketball.
For sure, very underrated.
Grandpa Jay.
Chris Mullin's underrated for another reason. I have to quickly say this because this is going to become an important fact in a few months. Chris Mullin is the last great white American-born basketball player until Cooper Flagg shows up. All right, let's continue.
Really?
American-born white player? NBA? Yeah, Chris Mullin. Last great born white American. Yeah. Think about it. Steve Nash.
Adam Morrison?
Adam Morrison, I thought was going to be good, but was clearly wrong. We discussed this some months ago.
All right,
Chris Mullin.
Who's your favorite 13?
Wait, who'd you say, Jamie?
Brent Barry.
He's not Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin's Hall of Fame.
He's a slam dunk champion.
I was about to say, he's famous for the underhand shot.
He's trying to bait us into that 04 team. He's trying to bait me because he knows Timmy's from the Caribbean. He wants me to be like, Timmy! But I'm not going there. All right? I'm not going to go there again with the 04 team. I'm not picking two guys. The answer is yes, Mike. You got it right. Shock. I can't believe you even compare me to these guys. Man. Come on now. No. The great Shaq Fu, at the time, the guy was the face of the league. I mean, despite Jordan had taken his little sabbatical, you know, and him and Penny are right here saying like, hey, we'll just dominate the East if you let us. That's fine. Like, bye-bye, Jordan. We're good to go to the NBA final and get swept by Akeem the Tree. It still bugs me to this day to even think about that. But yeah, it's Shaq hands down. I have a ton of respect for Chris Mullin. I have a ton of respect for Chris Paul as well. And, you know, Timmy's my guy because he's a Caribbean guy. But yeah, you said it right, Mikey. Shaq was dunking on them fools any chance he got in those 96 Olympics.
Trader?
I was kind of split on this, but so I went with Shaq. I did strongly consider Chris because that was that redemption team, and that was right as Chris was starting to become like the next great point guard in the NBA. And really being on an Olympic level, that's what elevated him. Once they came back the next couple of seasons after that, Chris Paul becomes the guy. But part of the reason Shaq, because this is right as he's going to the Lakers, Shaq is now starting to become one of the faces. And the other thing to remember is a lot of people, including me, felt that Shaq was left off of the dream team for Leitner, and Shaq should have been there instead of Leitner. So Shaq basically went out there with a vendetta in 96 and said, I'm going to prove to y'all it should have been me in those fucking pictures next to Jordan, next to Barkley, next to Bird, next to Magic Johnson. It should have been him. Because when we look back at it, don't get me wrong, Christian Leitner was great at Duke, but it always still looks strange looking at those pictures when you look and you're like, oh, it's the great Chris Mullin, it's the great this. And he was like, who's that guy? Oh, he was good in college. But everybody else is like great in NBA except for him. And I just wish I could Photoshop Shaq and put him in Leitner's place. And we just act like that didn't happen with the Dream Team because it just seems fitting if we're going to take the college kid who was, you know.
Please tag Isaiah Thomas in this. Because it's still mentioned that he should have been there instead of.
Should have been the one on that.
Isaiah should have been, but if we were going to carry a young guy, Shaq was the right one.
Shaq would have learned a lot from that team too. I think that would have benefited him going back to Orlando to finish his job in Orlando. Maybe just being on the team, he may not have got a lot of minutes, but he probably would have got himself a lot of opportunity to grow, be a better player, and then like you said, like Chris Mullin took his career off after that, but Shaq, I think,
but it motivated him to be an animal in '96. So
correct, where he may have won the NBA title, maybe not. But I'm just saying, like, it may have changed the trajectory of how his landscape of his career, which is a Hall of Fame career, right? So, like, let's not joke around about that. But I mean, it's almost like it's almost looking at this team and like Derek White. I mean, Derek White's a great NBA player, but it doesn't look right.
He just have to find somebody at the last minute who is basketball fit.
Yeah, I kind of find it funny it wasn't Jaylen Brown. That's my biggest thing. Is like
if you want to
they were both.
I think Jaylen already said "F you" to the U.S. Olympic Committee
after Derek White.
Yeah,
that was after Derek White got chosen. Though.
No, he said "F you" when he wasn't originally chosen. He's like,
already kind of
I can't even finish freaking 2 games in a playoff series. Like, get out of here. So he was like, forget y'all, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy my vacation and chill and watch Summer League.
Yeah.
So, all right. Actually, well, let us know who your favorite 13 and 4 is. We'll be bringing this game here next week, the week after, and the week after that. So, but you know what is consistently every single week, and that is Stump the Squad. Take it away, Grandpa Jay.
You guys know what time it is. Our favorite time of the show. It's Stump the Squad. Now, this is where you guys get to play along with us. Don't get it wrong. You got to get it right, but don't cheat to get it right either. So, play along with us. Keep your phones down. You get +2 if you get it right. You get -2 if you get it wrong. If you score more than us, go ahead and tag us and let us know you guys suck. And I rule at Stump the Squad. Would love if you guys showed us up like that. But you can't cheat. I promise you we don't. We know it all. We get it wrong just to make you guys feel good about yourselves. So, this is a must-win for myself, John, or Mike. A must-win week. Trey cannot win this week. So what are we going to do? We're going to shut him out this week. John, please make sure you have a question he's going to get wrong.
All righty. So,
Ohio State question. We'll take it.
Who wore number 1 on the Ohio State 01 team?
John Sawyer.
Damn. Fuck. That's why my cousin's there.
Jack Sawyer.
Well, we
Jack
do got
Sawyer's
Sawyer.
there.
Yeah,
I
we do
remember
have
when
Jack
that
Sawyer.
happened. On a side note, I remember when that happened. He's like, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, do you have a cousin that's going to Ohio?"
Well, because
I'm like,
he was. No, I mean, like
We-
he's built somewhat like you. He's a redhead. He's built like similar
Yeah.
body structure. You, it made sense.
yeah, so maybe we'll see. Jack, I mean, if you want me to be your fitness coach, I got you.
It might be a first round pick this year, so yeah.
Yeah, right. Hey, cousin.
Suddenly,
Bobby
suddenly he's got
Boucher. Jack, it's your cousin.
your cousin
Waterboy.
John.
It's your cousin John. All right. So approximately how many competitors are expected to compete in the Paris 2024 games? So approximately. So these are approximate numbers.
Yeah.
10,490, 10,500, 10,520, or 10,525.
Way to make it easy.
You're welcome.
What's the range? Just instead of saying 10,000, just say the smaller number at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they all had
490, 500, 515, 525.
515.
515. Oh,
Trey and
maybe the
Jamie?
same answer. Okay, I guess can't say we stole each other's answer. We said the exact same.
That's what I was gonna say.
And
So
Mike?
say it.
Jump on the board. Believe me.
24, 25.
Mike says 25.
I want to be different,
The answer is
490.
please.
that you all are stumped. It is 10,500 on the news.
Oh wow.
Of course, because it's an approximate.
Says
Should've guessed that.
approximate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fooled you. All right, Grandpa Jay, take it away.
All right, gentlemen. So, the 1976 Winter Olympics were ultimately held in Innsbruck, Austria. But this city was originally supposed to host it, having won the bid in 1970. Was this city Torino, Italy, Sochi, Russia, Vancouver, Canada, or Denver, Colorado?
Would say the question over again, please?
Okay, one more time. The 1976 Winter Olympics were ultimately held in Innsbruck, Austria, but this city was originally supposed to host it, having won the bid 6 years earlier in 1970. Was the city who got the bid, is what I'm looking for, but decided I'm not hosting it. Was it Torino, Italy, Sochi, Russia, Vancouver, Canada, or Denver, Colorado?
Right.
Vancouver.
Russia for Trey, Vancouver for John.
Mike's rewatching the intro to.
You know exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to watch the
movie.
intro to see if they said anything. Playing it back in my head.
Actually, no. Wait a minute. I'm gonna go with that. Vancouver.
Torino.
So each one of y'all are going with different. We have Russia, Italy, Canada, and we have back-to-back stumper wumpas. I have stumped the squad. The answer is the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado said we're not hosting, so Austria took it.
Really?
They were gonna give the U.S. 2 Summer Olympics in a decade.
Well, no, remember winter. Winter. Yeah.
Well, they would give them 2
Winter.
Winter Olympics.
Oh, here's where because it was the same year at that point.
Yep.
What
it was?
Yeah.
The Olympics. There was a period where the Summer and Winter Olympics took place in the same year.
Yeah, it used to be the same year.
It was up until 84, I believe. And then it was up until 92, and then it switched in 92 after that. It became 94. It became in between. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Who you want next, Grandpa Jay?
Mr. Mike DeSanto.
Hey, that's my full government name.
Good.
Well, guys, since you guys all had a problem with me not selling the card, fine. How much was the famous Mickey Mantle rookie card worth today? How much is it worth today?
You fucker.
Is it 12.6 million, 12.9 million, 13.2 million, or 14.1 million.
13.2.
Fucker.
What's the higher 12?
Higher 12, 12.9.
12.9.
12.9?
12.9.
Okay, so 2 13.2s and a 12.9. And once again, we have a stump.
Wow.
12.6 million.
Wow.
It makes
Okay,
even
so-
more sense why you should fucking sell it.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
well, you
here's the
guys didn't
problem.
even know how much it was worth.
That's still, I don't give a fuck. It's in the
Uh-huh.
millions. Like, you ain't gotta
Here's
tell
the
me.
problem. If Trey stumps us, what the hell are we gonna do?
That's the one
Just
question
scrap
we've
it.
been asking for 123 episodes.
No, if it
Someone's
is,
got to
that's-
get it right.
Well, it's just a scrap week, man. We just call it a. Everybody loses and everybody scores the same thing.
No, because that means you win anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, I
because
wasn't
we
doing the
need,
math.
we need
I know
wins.
you weren't doing the math, though. I'm saying it's not like we have a tiebreaker of a person unless everybody has 2 questions ready. 'Cause I don't. But-
All right, I'll give the tie break and I'll know the answer.
exactly.
Trey, take it
That's
away.
why I can't-
What you
All
got
right,
for
Well,
us?
let's,
All right, Trey.
well, let's see. I mean, let's see when y'all may get it right. So let's see what happens. Okay, so heading into the 2024 Olympics, how many medals did the USA have combined in the Summer and Winter Olympics all time?
Jesus.
Say that again.
Before the 2024 Olympics, how many medals did the USA have combined in the Summer and Winter Olympics all time?
Oh man, you're not a nice person.
Yeah, no, I mean, right. So this was originally my tiebreaker last week, but we didn't have it. So now it's going to be a question. Okay, so we got 25-31, 26-29, 27-23, or 28-32.
27-23.
Okay, so John's going 27-23.
28 is my
28-32.
number, so I'm gonna go 28-32.
Damn it.
Jamie's going 28-32.
Come on,
You still
come on,
do
Mike.
that,
We'll
can't you?
tiebreak it. We'll tiebreak it, Mike. Or the probability of you choosing another answer makes it more likely that one of us wins.
Or loses.
Or losers. What were my options again? One more time.
Okay, so your options are 25-31, 26-29, 27-23, or 28-32.
26-29.
So one of you are right. The question
Okay,
is
someone
who
won.
is right. Somebody won this week.
That's me.
And today's winner is Trey. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wish. Okay, today's winner is Mike. Playing the smart,
Yes.
not going with James.
Took
Not
my
going with James. You
I
took your
played the
advice.
game and I
So we
worked
almost
out.
played out a complete stump, and it almost happened if Jamie didn't say anything.
Mike, I don't know why you didn't just go for his answer with the gut feeling.
If he went
You guys
first,
could have
answer,
tied
Jamie
and won it in
would've
overtime.
played into a complete tie.
Or I could just win now.
No, Mike won. What are you
Oh,
talking
he
about?
did win. Oh, he did
If
win.
you went with
That's right.
Jamie,
Yeah, I
if you
won.
went with Jamie, everybody would've been
I was just holding up a
Yeah,
one like I won.
It would have been a complete stump if he did.
Yeah.
It was only one person, one answer.
So-
I just,
Oh, that's right.
That's
yeah, that's literally
So,
the
Mike,
only
you
answer.
should have taken his answer.
no. See, guys,
There's
and-
gonna
and
be
that shows-
we gotta figure this out before it happens. Like,
yeah, we gotta have a
happens-
contingency plan.
What happens if we all tie at the end? Because like we haven't had that happen yet. Well, at least we'll have a good ratio. We'll have a good ratio. It'll be like 1 out of 150 or 200 episodes. It'll happen.
That's how good. That's how good we are. We're so good that we make sure we never tie except for that one time.
I think we all just do a rock, paper, scissors.
That'd be sweet. That'd be dope.
And like
Okay,
a process
I'll-
by elimination.
I'll secretly open my door and your door so that I can see
That's what we
what
can
you're
see.
gonna throw.
Look,
All right, Mike is episode 123's winner. Trey is still not our champ yet. He still has to win next week, which brings our totals to Trey with 7, Mike with 6,
Ooh.
John with 4, and Jamie with 4. So Mike is this week's champ. Trey Day still has 3 episodes to clinch, or maybe 1 next week. So we'll see what happens next week. The Olympics is still roaring and going, so make sure you tune in. If you're bored on a Saturday, turn it on, put the quad box on, and of course, put on your favorite podcast, Cinco Squad. Make sure you follow us on all socials at Cinco Squad Pod 05. We'll see you here next week for episode 123. I'm Jonathan Sawyer. With me are my brothers, Grandpa Jay, Trey Day, and Mike A. We'll see you next week, guys.